Hey everybody, Maria here with ADHD, ODD, OMG, and I'm here to actually talk to you about how I was diagnosed because I was diagnosed as an adult, actually only a few years ago. So I had been on Celexa and then added Wellbutrin a couple years before I got off of it, but I had been on it since I was like 18 or 19, and then when I got pregnant at 29, you can't be on Celexa when you're pregnant, so they took me off Celexa and Wellbutrin and they put me on Zoloft. I didn't like Zoloft. And they tried something else. I can't remember what it was. I didn't like that either. So I just said, fine, I don't want to be on anything. And there was concerns about that because I was diagnosed at the time with MDD, major depressive disorder, anxiety, CPTSD, and they were concerned with my hormone levels and the fact that I had a pretty traumatic childhood and how that was going to affect the pregnancy and affect me. So they wanted to make sure I was okay. So what we ended up agreeing to was 2 phone sessions a week. I went into the actual therapist every other week physically, and then of course every month the whole test to make sure that I was okay and that I was mentally fit and sound. So did all that. Fast forward about 2.5 years after 2.5 years after I had my daughter, I felt my hormones were finally stabilized and I felt like I was in a good spot. I felt like I was in a good place. I felt my days were more predictable, but my emotions were not. So I asked to go back on Wellbutrin. So they put me back on Wellbutrin, which was fine. Then I, did a few months of that. So okay, I'm feeling better. So, but I'm having a really hard time concentrating and just getting going. Right? I didn't know what to do with starting. As weird as that sounds, I just couldn't seem to start. I knew what I had to do. I knew I could do it. I knew exactly how long it would take me to do. I just couldn't do it. So I went back to my therapist and said, hey, listen, I need something else. Something's wrong. We need to readjust. I need to figure something out, but I'm not doing what I need to do. I'm not focusing. I can't really finish anything. I'm having trouble with my work. So I'm getting crankier. I'm snapping more. My daughter's 2.5. I don't want to be that parent. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to take anything out on anybody else. I'm hyper aware of that because of my life. But I didn't want to put that burden on anybody else. So she said, okay, well, I would like to reevaluate you then. I said, okay, absolutely, that's great. She goes, because I don't think you have major depressive disorder. Okay, so I've just been misdiagnosed my whole life. She goes, no, you still have CPTSD and anxiety, but I don't think you have major depressive disorder. I think you have ADHD, and the anxiety is part of the CPTSD. I didn't tell her any of my symptoms for the OCD because that is entirely different video. It's actually really scary and very personal. It would be very hard to talk about, so that might not be for a while. But it was one of those things where, how much caffeine do you have in a day? Around 2 or 3 energy drinks. She goes, because you always have one. I go, yes, I always have one. I go to the dollar store and I get them at the dollar store because they're cheaper there. So I will have 2 or 3 of those a day. I've been known to have a pot or 2 of coffee a day in addition to the energy drinks. And then 6 cans of soda when I was, when I got pregnant with my daughter. My doctor is actually pretty amazed because I was having about 3,000 milligrams of caffeine in a day, and yeah, they're really concerned because that's not okay, and that they're like, I'm surprised you even got pregnant with that much caffeine in your system, and that you were able to, that your heart didn't explode, to be frank. So yeah, she goes, okay, well, do you have trouble with all of these other things, folding your clothes, spending money? Do you have problems with impulse control? Do you have problems with just getting started. Can you focus? Does your mind jump around a lot? Like, just all these different questions for her. And at the end of it, she was like, I don't think you have major depressive disorder. I think I'm right. You have ADHD, and if I am right, all you're gonna have to do is take a little pill, little blue pill. Then your life will be so much better. But I fought that, and I didn't want to do it at first. At first, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever you need to do. And then I realized that she wanted to put me in Adderall with the main ingredient is, methamphetamine, and addiction runs in my family, and I did not want to go that route. She goes, okay, well, here's this. Don't take it every single day. Take it the days that you need it. The mornings that you wake up and you're foggy and you don't know what to do and you're having trouble, or even halfway through the day, she goes, don't take it any time past, she's like 10 or 11. She goes, because you'll have trouble sleeping, maybe. I don't know. I really don't. Not when I have it, anyway. But yeah, don't take it every single day. Don't take it often. Don't abuse it, and you'll be fine. We'll do check-ins. You have to come in, every 30 days. We're going to have to do the test. You got to make sure that you are not addicted to it. You got to make sure that it's okay. Fine, absolutely. And holy crap, that first day after I took it, it was... you know that video of, like, the yarn in your mind, and then, like, the commercials, the yarn goes, like, evens out, and you can think? Like, that's what happened, is I could actually think. I could breathe. My mind could breathe. I could... all of the letters and all the notes and everything, all the thoughts that were just flying at me were now being, like, filed in the correct places, and I could find them in the right places, and I could utilize them, and it was magic. And I cried, to be honest, after the second day, because I thought the first day was a fluke. And then the second day I cried, and then a week later I had my meeting with my therapist, and she's like, so how are you? And I was like, I've never felt more like I should feel, if that makes any sense. Like, I didn't know this is how you're supposed to feel. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I was diagnosed. And a couple years later, or about a year later, I was also diagnosed with OCD. Again, different story. But because I was diagnosed with ADHD, I knew that certain disorders, or genetic mental disorders being one of them at the time, we were doing a lot of research on, and I had done a lot of figuring out what could be. Well, my daughter at the time was 2.5, and by this time she'd been kicked out of 2 different daycares. Before she got into kindergarten, she was kicked out of a total of 4. I have had 3 checks returned to me from daycare providers, literally. Like, this week has been, the last 2 days have been free, we're not going to charge you for them, just get her out of here. I've been threatened with at least 1 lawsuit because of my daughter's behavior. She bit another kid pretty bad in the ear, took off a little chunk when she was about 2.5. She was, aggressively playing with another little girl, dislocated her shoulder. So I had noticed some of these symptoms in her, like she cannot physically sit when she's eating food at all, regardless. Nothing. She cannot sit, period. She had a lot of those emotional outbursts. We call them big emotions, and we just have a lot of big emotions. We don't know how to get rid of them. So a lot of those outbursts, and the things that were cleared up with me with my ADHD, because I was on the Wellbutrin and the Adderall, I was able to see the same symptoms in her. I was able to see the frustration in her. And when she was kicked out of her, when she was kicked out of that 3rd one, I went to her doctor, and I cried. I said, I don't know what to do. She just got kicked out of another one. I might be threatened with a lawsuit for injuring this kid, and the babysitter doesn't want anything to do with this, and I don't know what to do. And she goes, well, 3.5 is extremely young to be diagnosed with ADHD, with anything, actually, because they're too young. We wait until they're 5 for a reason. She goes, let's talk this through. 40 minutes later, she goes, my friend is a specialist at Stanford. I would really love to give you a referral. And here's a book called ADHD in Toddlers. Your daughter is one of the youngest cases, if not the youngest cases that I have seen. She was 3.5. They don't diagnose until 5. I spent the next 2 years fighting for help for her, fighting for anything. She was in kindergarten. I would have literally weekly, daily meetings with her teacher that turned into monthly meetings with the school, and then we had to set up like this drop-off program. Like, it was just, the entire time I kept fighting for her. People could tell me she's too young, she's just a kid, she's just this. I kept fighting for her, and then finally, between the summer of kindergarten and first grade, her doctor came to me. She goes, "Hey, listen, we finally got the results done. Here's what I'm gonna do. Your daughter has ADHD. She has AODD, which is authoritative oppositional defiance disorder. So basically, me is it worse? She's the worst with me because the logic there, she's worse with the person that she feels the most comfortable with. So it's both a blessing and a curse, I guess. She has the ODD, and she goes, she's the youngest case that I have ever seen. She is the most extreme case you've ever seen, and you both are now officially diagnosed, because at that time when she got diagnosed with her official diagnosis, I had already been diagnosed with OCD, which I knew I already had complex ADHD. And she goes, well, your daughter officially now has complex ADHD as well. In the worst case that I have ever seen in my entire 20 plus year, I think she's like 22 or 27 year career that I have been doing this, your daughter is the most extreme case that I have ever seen. That was just validating, you know? Like, I knew something was wrong. I knew she needed extra help, but I knew not something was wrong, but something was off. Something was different. And she needed that extra help because I needed that extra help. And it took me 33 years before I was able to get that help. I did not want that for her. I struggled with that my entire life, and now I knew how to help her, right? Because I was helping myself. So I knew how to help her at that point. And it was so validating and vindicating. It's not an excuse, but it's more of an understanding when we're out and shopping and she literally just starts throwing things off the shelf and I can't control it, and I'm literally just like holding her from behind. I'm like, Sophia, you need to listen to my breathing. It's okay. Like, listen to my breathing, listen to my breathing. And it's so embarrassing, right? Because people, they don't know anything. They just like, oh, you're a horrible mother. You know, you can't control your kid. I'm not trying to control my kid. I'm trying to have my kid control her own emotions. And it's happened to me twice where that's literally been the case. And an older woman, definitely not this generation, definitely, you know, my grandparents' age, my parents' age, my parents are in their late 60s, so this woman's both times late 70s, early 80s, and both times they said, you know what, it's okay. It's just a bad day, and it's gonna happen. But you didn't do the easy thing. You didn't hurt them. You didn't hit them. You didn't do anything that would make your life easier. You're doing it the right way, which is also the hard way, which is helping them understand what to do, and you're okay. So if anybody has ever been in that situation, I'm gonna tell you the same thing. You're okay. It's just one situation in one day, and nobody but you is gonna ever remember it. And your job isn't to think about how you are being perceived at that moment. Your job is to make sure that your child is okay. And I know that is really easy for me to say right now, but that took years for me to understand and to realize. So, yeah, to all the people out there who have said that to me, thank you. Especially strangers in public who have literally like stopped me at my car when I'm crying in my car, just like letting me go berserk in the back seat, and I'm standing outside the car, and I've literally just been like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, I don't know what to do, and yeah, so thank you. So, long roundabout way of how I was diagnosed as an adult and how I was able to say to my daughter, because I was able to get the help that I needed, which allowed me to get the help she needed. So if you are thinking one way, don't stop fighting. I took her to 3 different people. I'm still waiting to see a specialist, and there's issues with my insurance right now, but once that gets taken care of, I know my daughter's gonna will be taken care of, and she's it's like a 504 plan for school. She sees a counselor once a week. She sees an emotional therapist once a week that her school was able to do, because I fought for her for this, because in California there's very specific rules, and yeah, it was very the best thing that I could have done was fight for her. So if anybody is feeling anywhere in that realm, fight. It's worth it. She's now saying words like, got these big emotions, or Mom, I need 5 minutes, and Alexa, give us 5 minutes, and we'll get our own separate rooms. And yeah, so that's how I was diagnosed. That's how I got my daughter diagnosed. It's not easy. It's very hard. It took years, but it was worth it. So go talk to somebody. Go talk to your doctor. I'm a big fan of medication. My daughter's not on medication. I am, like I said, issues with insurance right now, but I will be back on medication shortly. But in the meantime, I know the tools and the tips and the tricks to keep everyone safe. So see you guys next time.